Good.
Good day. This is Maia Smith with Freedom Living Realty, and this is end of the year. So I'm here with Mark Allen with Home Edge Mortgage,
Edge Home
and
Finance.
and we're gonna talk about how mortgage rates reacted through the year and what may be a prediction or trend stepping into 2025. I actually pulled up my video from last 2024 predictions on 2024, and I'm really interested to rewatch it again. So I'll put a link after we air this episode, and I will really be interested about your opinion. What should we expect from mortgage rates? And I also have some statistics for us during this video.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it. Um, so I will say a couple things. I think people thought it would go down a little bit more this year than it did. And it did have its ebbs and flows. I think, they're definitely better than last year, but they're not like substantially better, which we told people, right? Like one of the things I like to say to people is you can't time the market. I mean, you can't, right? You don't know when things are going to drop. You don't know when things are going to increase. I'll give you a perfect example. So yesterday at the Fed meeting, right? There was a Fed meeting yesterday. They cut the rate again, right, by 0.25, a quarter percent. It was planned out. So a lot of times I tell people the lenders already priced that in because they pretty much know it's going to happen, right? If it's like 70%, they're going to do it. So they already had it priced out. And then a lot of people are like, oh, I'll wait for the Fed to cut, right? It's not about mortgage rates, right? It's more about long term when they cut stuff for like credit cards and auto loans and things like that. The mortgage rates will fall at some point, but the initial drop doesn't happen. So the craziest thing yesterday is in the morning, they weren't too bad. I had someone that was going to lock, they didn't lock their rate. It was up to them. I don't force people to do that because it's on me if I do that. So I always say it's your choice, right? I give you all the data. They wanted to wait till the Fed meeting, blah, blah, blah. It dropped substantially. It got like bad. It got worse substantially yesterday. So after the meeting, the rates went like this. So everyone panics, right? Like I think there was an overreaction to it though. I think they dropped too much. There wasn't necessarily a need for them to drop as much as they did because they base it off of bonds and you know Jerome Powell, like what he says and things like that. So their predictions for next year are two cuts. It was four, so they're predicting only two rate cuts next year. Again, it's all based on everything, right? New election stuff, new president, and then like all the things that could happen. We don't really know, right? You don't really know what's going to happen with that. But I think one of the things that I see more so is people are just accepting it, right? They're accepting the rates. Last year, I would say they weren't, right? They were really panicky about it. They didn't like it. They were nervous. They were hoping for better. It got maybe a tiny bit better over the year, but we're still ending it, standard conventional loans after yesterday, like where you're paying no points and it's basically like good credit, all that kind of thing, it was like a 7%, 7.125. And that's a standard across the board. Doesn't mean that's what we do. I mean, I've got people better rates than that, but that's it's ending the year at like seven or high sixes for a standard conventional loan. So, there really isn't much difference. I do think they'll drop a little bit next year, but you're not going to see like a 4.5, even a five. I mean, if it gets in the fives, it'd be awesome because I think that's a huge jump for people. But I mean, that's the craziest thing. People think that the Fed cut means immediate cuts to rates, and it's not necessarily true. In fact, two of the times they did it, it's gotten worse immediately after. Crazy thing is though, today it's kind of balanced itself back out. It's already starting to come down a little bit. So it's all about the bond market. It's all about, it's such a guessing game for people. It's a gamble. You gamble, you win, you gamble, you lose. And I always tell people, if you feel comfortable with what I've told you, then just lock it in, right? Don't play the roller coaster game anymore because you could either get burned or it could be great. You don't really know what you're going to do. So, it's if you feel good about it after all the numbers are talked to you about, and again, that's a good lender, right? Someone that's going to make sure they break everything down for you and tell you exactly like it's going to be. If you feel good with it, lock it. If you're not sure, then you can wait, right? You can float it. But yeah, so that was a good example yesterday. It's perfect time for us to be doing this meeting because it just got, it got kind of dicey afterwards, and people were panicky about it. And why did the rates get worse? And it's like, well, because just because they cut it doesn't mean that's the rate, right? It doesn't mean the rates cut immediately. So just my 2 cents on what just happened. So
So, to kind of give the outline, last year, lots of talk, and I go to different meetings with mortgage professionals and realtors and all the updates. So last year, lots of talk was about, it was promised 4 cuts. How does it affect the rates and the housing prices? So end of the year, we have a picture that rates just slightly came down, but house prices also slightly came down. But when we talk about house prices, it's not like we're talking generally about everything. So let's look about this. Medium house price went up from 200s to 350s, 360s, medium house price. So in such a huge price increase through 4 to 5 years, this happened through 4 to 5 years. Such a huge price increase. Are we talking about $10,000 down within 1 year? Maybe. So you're still looking what people should bought first-time home buyer $250,000 house. Now they are buying $350,000 house.
correct.
So when we're talking about houses 500 and above, actually their purchasing power on that price point homes in 2024 was higher than the purchasing power in $350,000 homes. So prices in $500,000 and up does not really came down because it was demand on it. People were upping that, going into a higher, maybe more rooms because everybody was working from home.
Mm-hmm.
And people from north moving to central North Carolina also affected that type of market, and prices stayed little sturdy on that. And then above $1 million homes, their prices was not as much affected either.
Mm-hmm.
We have not seen many sales. Probably their sales were a little bit stagnant, but we did see sales. I also want to say, from a property standpoint, people say that houses sell less time, like they sit on market longer. But that property I had for sale on a Birch Street, it was $250,000. I had a circus parade showings on it.
That's because it's a great value. That
It
property
was a
number is a great
cute
value.
house. It was a good neighborhood in a good area in Kannapolis. It was a good price, good
Mm-hmm.
yard. And so guess what? We sold less in months and
Yep.
we sold above asking price.
Yep.
So that buyer came with the lender, but guess what? She never thought she can afford to buy a house. She was a rental and her lease was ending in December 19th. And
Mm-hmm.
bam, it happened. So it's still a good market within any market.
I
And
agree.
like you always say, if does it make sense for you,
Mm-hmm.
do it.
Yeah, because I mean, why sign up for another year of renting? At least see if you can. I mean, it doesn't hurt, right? You're not doing anything. Sure, it's tedious, right? You got to have documents, you got to show your income, you got to show your debts, you have to have reasonably decent credit score. Not great. I mean, I help people all the time with lower credit scores. People don't know they can do it until they at least attempt to look at it, right? I've had so many people over the years that I've been doing this, right, that they will have no clue. And then they look at all the stuff with me and I say, hey, you can buy up to this amount. And they're always like, what?
Whoa.
I say, now, does that mean you should go that high? Probably not. But what do you feel comfortable with? Like, it's not necessarily the rate, it's what the payment is. Because people forget insurance goes up, taxes go up. So all that gets added into, the whole payment. So it's like, be able to see it and be like, okay, if I'm renting for say 2,000, but my mortgage that I could qualify for is 2,400, are you comfortable paying 400 more dollars a month to have your own house that you're not burning money? Because burning money is what renting is. Throwing
Yeah.
money in the trash and lighting it on fire, right? Is there no maintenance? Sure, but you're still having to pay someone your hard-earned money instead of if I buy a house for 250 in a year, it might be 275. I don't know. I mean, it could. The house prices are going to go up. That's already been talked about. That's not going down regardless of the rates. Housing prices are still going up. It's happening. Depending on what market you're in, almost all the time, you're immediately building equity. You're immediately building wealth, right? So if you can do it, don't be afraid to do it because you can refinance down the road, which you probably will anyways. No one's going to sit on a 7 or a 6.5 forever. It's not going to
Yeah.
be like that forever. So can you feasibly, and it's the one question I ask people after we do all the numbers, how does that number look? Ooh, it's a little high. Okay, well, let's bring the purchase price down a little bit, right? How does it look now? Okay, that's a little better. And I say, okay, well, I mean, do you feel comfortable with that? Yeah. So start looking. Go search. Take your time. If you're not sure, take your time. Find the right house for you, even if it's a starter home. Go live in it for a year, and then sell it and get a different one. It doesn't matter, right? Like you're gonna make money off of it. You're not gonna lose money on it. That's like it's hardly ever does that happen. So I think that that's the thing. People are scared. They see the rate. It is what it is. We're at that. I think this year was the year people just accepted it. Like the rate is the rate. Is inventory high? No. I think it'll go up a little bit too. I think as we move through to the spring and stuff like that, the inventory will rise. But I just try to tell people like, I'm not saying you should go buy. You have to want to do it, right? You have to want to be comfortable doing it. Not everybody wants to do that. But if you're unsure, just take a look, see if it
Yeah.
makes sense. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does, great, let's go. So, um, no pressure on people. I mean, really, I always tell people like, no obligations with me. I've had people be like, do I pay you? I'm like, no, you don't pay me. I'm looking at numbers for you. It's no big deal.
Yes.
Like, let's look at it and see if it helps. If it doesn't, it doesn't, right? It's okay. So
Yeah.
that's my 2 cents. I mean, I think the prices of housing is going to go up. Maybe not a
Okay.
lot, but it'll go up, I think. And inventory, I think, will open up a little bit. Rates will probably just it's just going to be back and forth. Hopefully, we do get a good drop at some point, but I think it's going to take at least quarter 1 to get down a little bit. It's just my opinion. Again, if a mortgage person or a realtor tells you something's going to happen, they have no clue. There's no one that knows that. It's my least favorite thing. Oh, let's go listen to this guy who's been doing it for years. Well, that's fine. He has insight. It doesn't mean he has any idea what's really going to happen because yesterday was a great example.
But can I share my screen here and
Yeah.
bring you some statistics?
Mm-hmm.
Can you see this? Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Let me move this away. And so you mentioned inventory, and I would like to share with our viewers here. So let's start with Rowan County. So this is from tax and MLS
Mm-hmm.
system, and it's a 90-day trend. So let's look what happened here. So total closed sales went down a little bit, 4% down. And total pending sales are 2% down. But let's take in consideration the last 30 days, it's a Thanksgiving and Christmas,
Correct.
and usually market slows down
Mm-hmm.
itself anyway. So active listings are 7% higher up, and then days on market is little 6% down. So they staying like 44 days, which is very normal, always been normal,
Mm-hmm.
except the crazy pandemic years when everything went crazy. And
Mm-hmm.
here it is, sale price to list price went up. So it's 2% up. So whatever people are listing, it's selling in 95% ratio. And real estate is a negotiation business,
Mm-hmm.
you see the price you offer, and sometimes it closes 5% lower, but it's high. And
Right.
the last thing is the months of inventory, it's 3 months. So if we have a 6 months of inventory, it's a balanced inventory. When we have 3 months inventory, it's a short inventory, and
Right.
it's a seller's market.
Yep.
Everything above 6 months, it's surplus of inventory. It means there is more homes than the buyers, and it's a buyer's market. So,
Hmm.
so far, we are still in a shortage.
Yep.
We are 3 months short. So that was a Rowan County. Let's look in a Cabarrus County really quick. So in Cabarrus County, also the sales kind of came down. It was average 207 monthly sales. Total pending sales came down a little bit, and inventory in Cabarrus went really higher.
Yeah.
But look what's going on. Even with 10% up inventory, we are
Yes.
scary 2 months low. 40 days average in market, less than 2 months, and then close to list ratio is higher.
Yeah.
So Cabarrus County is still selling, and we are still in a seller's market in a shortage.
Correct.
And here we are in a Mecklenburg. So big sales, it's a bigger county.
Yep.
Little decline in sales. As I mentioned, it's 2 months, November and December. It's not a sales month. Little bit pending sales are down as well. Inventory is up. Shortage on the market. And shorter days on market in Mecklenburg.
Yep.
Mecklenburg always
That,
sells.
yeah, that makes sense.
And it's more pricier.
Hmm.
Mecklenburg is higher price point than Rowan and
Right.
Cabarrus. So here you have trends. So what happened? As you know, I'm also a general contractor, and I just finished single family residential construction. And when people say house prices will come down, I will tell you with 100% certainty how new construction homes, good location homes, homes with a good value as a backyard or updates, they will not come down
Hmm.
because cost of goods are high. It's inflation. We are in an inflation. Everything's going up. Cost of building materials going up. Cost of land goes up. Cost of putting utilities and supplies goes up. So home prices will not go down. I think maybe negotiation powers maybe a little bit more, because if houses will stay on market longer, sellers will be a little bit anxious, and you have them. Maybe they will pay points for a buyers. Maybe they will pay a little bit more closing cost.
Yep.
But looking at the value appreciation of the house you're buying, it will not come down.
No.
That's my 2 cents.
No, it won't. And I think that's one of the big things is that, again, it's still a seller's market, right? They're getting offers and they can negotiate offers. It might not be as many offers as they've hoped for, but I've seen a lot of people ask for seller concessions, and some people offer it,
Yes.
some people don't. And it is what it is. It doesn't hurt to ask, right? Depending on how many, excuse me, how many people are offering. But the housing prices aren't going down. I mean, you might be able to negotiate a little bit, but it's really not going to change too much. And depending on what area you're looking in, there's a lot of value. Like you said, if there's land, or you have a good community or whatever, good schools, those things are always going to be up. I live in Harrisburg, and nothing
Always.
lasts. Nothing
Always.
lasts here.
Yes.
Always.
Yes.
And we have a couple houses in our neighborhood, and they probably won't last long. I mean, it's it just depends on where it is. But like Charlotte, right? I mean, that's Mecklenburg County. Like those houses are always more expensive, and they still sell because people want to move there, and
Yes.
you'll see more inventory, and you will see, I see when you showed like the ratio there, 95, 96, 97. I mean, that's pretty standard. You're not seeing
Yes.
90, you're not seeing 85. I mean,
Yes.
people are going to pay close to full price or negotiate a little bit of a buy, a little bit buy down, things like that. But I just, again, my biggest thing is, it's not, the rates are going to pretty much stay pretty similar. I think they'll drop a little bit, but you might just see fluctuations just like this year. We're not looking at like this massive drop. It's just not going to happen right away. the cuts are good, but it's not going to change that much. So people like if they really want a house and they're unsure if they can do it, at least get prepped for it, right? At least see if
Yes.
it makes sense because there are good houses out there, regardless of inventory being lower. It's good
Yes.
houses. There's nice houses for
Yes.
people. So,
Very good
you know,
houses.
I always tell people too. I'm sure you do the same thing. Like check boxes. You're not going to get everything checked off. It's just not going to
Yes.
happen when they walk in a house. It's very rare. So maybe in this market you might have a little less check boxes, but you might
Yes.
have a lot of stuff that you love. You might get in a community that you love. It might not be the perfect house, but at least it's a house you can build wealth in and equity, and then sell it later if you don't want to live in there for more than a couple years or whatever it is. But it's always better to buy if you can do it. Right. It's not
Yes.
for everybody. It's not for everybody.
And also, I want to ask you if you notice this. I kind of noticed it when prices go higher or interest rates go higher. I see homes appraise. So I have not had a dramatic lower appraisal points this year on my transactions. Everything I had listed, maybe value of a good real estate agent also is in giving you a good listing point or giving you a good comparisons when you're buying or putting an offer. Everything I had listed or I worked with buyers, we had a pretty good appraisals come in. I had not no lower appraisal come in this year at all. So that means houses stand their values
They do.
and
They
banks
do.
know about it.
Yep. Yeah, I haven't, there are appraisers they're all different too, right? Like they're just like
Yeah.
lenders and just like realtors. Everybody does their own thing and compares value. I haven't had too many that were under. I think
Yes.
since I've been doing it, maybe one or two, and then we had we renegotiate some of them and just ask why. And is
Yeah.
there not a comp that wasn't used? But it's very uncommon. Especially if the realtor's done a good job of listing it, right? If they've done their
Yeah.
their work and they have it listed properly, and they're not way over,
Yeah.
then it is what it is. So, um, I've seen the gamut on it, but most of the time it's pretty on point. It's pretty straight up what the number was, anyways. So
Let me ask you this question and maybe we can summarize and wrap up. So we said that when the rate cut comes out, it's almost like a stock market reaction,
yeah,
even with the housing rates. So it becomes very speculative and it becomes, like you said, panicky, and it not necessarily results into a lower interest rate in a housing market. So do you think, will you suggest people to don't necessarily wait for that hype? If the numbers make sense and you know that it's in seven something or six something, because I know people get pre-approved and then they sit there, they want to ride the wave, and I don't think that always works better for them.
mm-mm, it doesn't. A good example is a great example actually. You could be pre-approved based off of a rate 2 weeks ago, right? And then now today, that pre-approval might be garbage because now they might not qualify, right? Like it might be completely different. Like if they were close to the line,
Yes.
and a lender might be like, "Oh, you're good," which by the way, that's another story for another day, how there's some really bad lenders out there. But I my biggest thing is um if you just always check. Your lender should be checking constantly. Like hey, what's the update? What's the update? What's the update? It's a roller coaster. It's a gamble. Once you feel like it makes sense and you're comfortable with the number, just lock the rate, right? You just do it because then you have like the stress is off your back. You're done. You're in through the process. Let's get moving. If the rates come down, they come down. If they go up, they go up. Just don't worry about it anymore. But it's not going to be so much though. You're not going to see like this that it's going to
Yes.
change your monthly payment all that much.
Yes.
So, people think like, oh, if I lock at a 7 versus a 6.75, it's like you realize that's like $50 a month, maybe on your monthly
Yes.
payment.
And
Something in
can
that
I
range.
add really quickly? They
Yeah.
think about 50 bucks a month on an interest rate, and then they will look at the house which has double tax, city tax and county tax. Really, people, you are paying thousands of
Yeah.
dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And for what reason? They will have, oh, I really like to walk
Mm-hmm.
downtown. So go drive downtown and then walk.
Yep.
I mean, you have to adjust.
I have people do it all the time. The rate is the rate, and then I go and do my numbers, right? I put a rough estimation of insurance, and then I go, well, you realize that it's like HOA is like $100 a month. Oh, well, that's got to go in there. No, oh, your taxes are here. Wait, it is? And I'm like, here's your monthly. And then they sticker shock, they panic, and I'm like, I don't make those numbers up. I go, the rate's the rate. We'll figure that out, but everything else is not my problem. Like those are things that are going to be something you pay, right?
Yes,
So, I mean, it is what it is, and it's like I get it. If you can afford it, great. If you can't, then you need to rethink where you're looking or what you're doing or how you're doing it because you got to basically say one of my first questions on a client call, what is a monthly mortgage you would feel comfortable paying? And don't
yes,
tell me $1,000 because that doesn't exist anymore. So I always tell people, like, be realistic. What is a monthly mortgage payment you can handle? Is it 2,500? Okay. Well, let's do some numbers here. I'll tell you roughly where we're at, and then we'll kind of backtrack it a little bit, right? Like, okay, maybe you need to bring the purchase price down here. You need to put more money down, whatever. But you got
yes,
to feel good with it because, again, a lot of lenders will just like say, hey, yeah, you're great. You're pre-approved. You're this, you're that. And then they get them in the door, and then they're like, oh wait, you're not, or oh, by the way, your payment is 3,000. Wait, it is? Like people don't know that because they're just being lied to a lot of times, and there's a lot of shady people, so I'm sure you
yes,
know that.
yes,
But I mean, that's the reality. Is it's getting the numbers out there. What do you really want? Not what do you want the rate to be. Everybody wants a 3%. Of course we do. I could lie and say, yeah, I'll get you a 3%. We don't do that, right? What do you want the payment to be? Where are you comfortable at in your budget? That's it.
yes,
From there, we can navigate it. Okay, well, is $200 more okay? Because you could get this house. Oh, actually, yeah. Or no. Okay, well, then we got to keep it here, right? So it's really just making sure people understand that. When people ask what the rate is, I'm like, why? Who cares? We're not locking it today. I
right.
mean, really, we're not locking it. It doesn't matter.
And
You
you're
don't.
not paying anything for
You're not doing
consultation.
anything.
So
You
let's
might.
discuss.
Yeah. I mean, what? Oh, can I get a rate? Why? Are you locking the rate today? No. Okay, it doesn't matter. What do you want your payment to be? That's it.
Yes,
That's it. I mean, the rate, like exactly the point. Yesterday, horrible. Today, better. So you don't really know what you're gonna get, right? You don't really know what you're gonna do. So just like it's one of my least favorite questions. I mean, realtors do the same thing. Oh, what are the rates? Well, I mean, I could tell you, but does it matter? Like you're either gonna want to use me for relationships and to get you the best deal, or you're not. I mean, that's straight up. I'm not gonna tell you it's a 5%. It's not a 5%. So
or same question happens in real estate every day to me, every day. How is the real estate market? Well, real estate market is very wide. So what type of transaction we doing? Let's
correct.
talk about it. Are you in a seller's market, buyer's market, investor's market? What are we doing?
Are
It's
you
different.
building a house? Are you buying land? I don't know. I mean, it's all so much different. So it's really
Yes,
about getting that conversation and zeroing in on what you want and how much you can afford. And from there, it's then now for me, right? Pre-approval. Go to Maya. She's going to look for a $350,000 house. She knows exactly what she needs to look for you. Boom, buy, have fun, right? And
yes.
we lock, we're good, we're going.
Or I mean, real estate market on land is on fire.
Yeah, it is. It
So, I
is.
mean, you're telling me, oh, it's a slow sales on land? No, there is no
Mm-mm.
slow sales on land. So,
People love
it's,
land because they can buy it and do whatever they want to it for a while. It doesn't matter. So
yeah.
is
let's
what it is.
just let's just say 3 points, and you say yes or no.
Okay.
Will interest rates dramatically come down in 2025?
I don't think so. No,
Me neither. Will house prices dramatically come down in 2025?
I don't think so.
It will be still a good market to do a wise and informed decision in real estate.
Always, a thousand
Yes,
percent.
yes, we
Always,
are on 100% same page.
always, always. That's a good thing.
Good. Well, I
Awesome.
wish our listeners and I wish you and your family a wonderful Christmas.
Same, same. Enjoy hopefully some time off. I mean, we don't sleep, right? That's not what our
Yes,
job is. Both of us
yes.
don't do that. That's if people ask us questions, we're going to answer it. So
Yes. It's my plan to enjoy the holidays and Christmas and New Year with my family and friends. Thank you
Same.
so much, Mark.
Awesome. Thank you so much.